want to know what's so crazy about this game? I'll tell you. This.
Please do.
Okay. Napoli's missing Anguissa in the midfield and Scott McTominay, right? Roma's missing Kone. So both in a game where you probably would have seen Roma like to control games, Napoli at times also can pass it side to side and keep the ball, right? Both of them have high possession numbers. They're both missing big pieces in the midfield. Both managers understand that. So they go, okay, we don't have the pieces we need in the midfield. Instead, we're going to bypass the midfield. We're going to press the other team. We're going to force them to bypass. And there were so many balls around the corner that would go into Højlund. And both teams, why the game was so fun was both teams took risks by bypassing the midfield and sort of overloading each other's back lines. And that's why we saw so many moments and so many chances. It was a game of balls around the corner that were 50-50 balls, and then who could pick up the second ball. And whoever did, it was like, boom. If you picked up that second ball, you'd get an attack. And so I thought it was just a really interesting match. I mean, and the amount of danger Napoli caused from the kicks of Vanja Milinkovic-Savic. The 70-yard...
It's like Route 1.
70-yard balls.
Yeah.
Which back in the day, you say, oh, that's not football. But it's a weapon. It is a weapon that Napoli have. So a really fun game.
We were talking about Vergara not too long ago, and now it feels like Alisson. How impressed were you today with what you saw from him, Grell?
Yeah, I thought the performance was really good. It was really short sample size. I thought when he got the ball, he knew exactly what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it. I thought he was very direct. I thought he was very smooth, obviously coming from Sporting. And I thought directly affected the game with his finish. It was really good. I thought there was moments where Vergara showed flashes of... He had one snapshot in the first half that I thought, ooh, that's pretty good. He had one where he sombreroed a guy and then just fell on his own. I think there's a little bit more youth in Vergara's game. Gave a lot of balls away today as well. So flashes of stuff, but not the full performance where Santos was, I thought, more dangerous on the day.
Their ability to find solutions, to me, is what is so impressive with both of these teams, right? That's why Gasperini and Conte are two of the best coaches that we have in Italy. So many managers would not be able to put on such a high level of football with missing those key pieces. Now, when you talk about moving forward and you talk about where do Napoli go for here, it's going to be hard to continue to do this when you don't play against a team like Roma. The lack of midfield, the lack of any sort of build-up play. Maybe Gilmore coming back will help it. Elmas, he's trying to play in a new position. He plays on the wing. He's played as attacking midfield, plays as a defensive midfielder. He's not the guy that's going to be able to help bring them forward through from the midfield to the attack. I'm really worried about that. And then when you isolate the Napoli defense, they can't deal with speed. They can't. The second goal, you could see it coming from a million miles away. We all were watching and we said, oh, here's how they're going to get caught out. A little bit of speed in behind. None of those three defenders, none of the three center backs from Napoli can handle that sort of pace.
It's been concerning, Napoli's defence. It's not the first time that we've been worried about it. Obviously, Buongiorno has been the hot topic lately in the back line. But today, there was worries all across it, wasn't there? Did you see those two, Grella?
Yeah, 8 goals in the last 4 games Napoli have conceded. That's been, for me, another talking point. Because, yeah, the injuries are one thing, trying to create plays. We know that they've struggled to create plays and play fluid football. They relied on McTominay a lot last season. They had to find answers. It's whether a Politano cross or some little bit of magic from Vergara that they didn't even know, apparently, that they had this talent on the bench. But the way that they're conceding goals, that's an issue because this is the back three. That's a pretty good back three that they signed. They spent a lot of money on Buongiorno and Bokoma in the transfer market, and the Rachmani's got 2 Scudetto on this belt. The way that they concede goals is a little bit concerning. It's very easy. Like I said, 8 in the last 4 games is 2 goals a game. That's too many. So that's a worry that we didn't see last season. Napoli didn't have this Achilles heel last season of conceding some easy goals. I mean, Wesley on the one that that Rachmani fouls him. Wesley carries the ball. It's a pretty routine pattern of play there. Goes into the midfield. He runs. He gets the ball. And Wesley runs 60 yards on a straight line into Napoli's box. That's something that Conte is going to want to look at.
Also, the dynamic for Roma, how they're going to look with Malen. I mean, it's usually very difficult to find a player in a January transfer market that could improve your team. You look for solutions. You try anything. He fits exactly what this team was missing. It's the characteristic that Gasperini wants in a striker that's mobile, that's quick, that could cause havoc, that he understands his teammates right away. 5 goals in 5 games. Yes, the second one is a penalty, but it's a fantastic.
It was confident penalty, though.
100%. But it's the new look that he's going to give their team when they go further on in the Europa League, you just feel the threat. It's much more threatening than when they had Ferguson or Dovbyk. And I felt bad for Ferguson and Dovbyk because I thought they were doing their job. Both of them worked really hard. They were signed to be the center forward, and they did it. And they would do a lot of work off the ball, but they weren't providing the goals. It's incredible the impact that he's had. The 5 goals in 5 games. He's already the second top goal scorer of Roma.
In 5 games, it took Sule 24 as well to get there.
It was obvious when Malen came out and that the substitutes that it was game over. Even Pisili, that I thought was not having a fantastic game, as soon as they subbed him out and they put El Nawi in, they lost control totally of the game, and they were not dangerous at all.
I think one of the interesting things, though, is now the outlook for the rest of the season. We said that this is going to be a game that kind of defines the Champions League. You thought it could be 2 fighting for the final place, the 4th place in the league. Has Roma got enough to be able to compete in the Europa League and still challenge for the top 4 after what you've seen? Oh,
for me, 100%. Besides the fact that they have Gasperini that's won in the Europa League, I think that'll give a lot of confidence to the entire team that he has. The style of football, I think, the way that they compete, the way that they're all bought in, even the battles that Ndika had with this center forward, to me that looks like a tournament team. And then you always need a little bit of magic if you want to win the Europa League. If you think about the way Gasperini won the Europa League with Atalanta, it was Lookman, right? Yeah. He gave you that ability. It's starting to feel like they'll have that. They have a couple of key pieces. When Dybala comes back, Sule, Malen now, those are the things that you need if you want to make that run. For me, they're up there. They're up there as one of the favorites to win in the Europa League. It wouldn't surprise me if they did go on and win it.
Roma are getting better every week. For me, they're getting better. I like the project. I see them advancing. Malen makes them much better. We know that. Napoli is the fact that, when we're talking about the fight for the top 4, Napoli is the fact that they're like a team you would never want to see in a back alley. Like, you would never want to run into them in a street fight, because they will win every single time. Even with nothing. Elmas in the midfield today. I mean, some of these guys, Gutierrez, I thought played well today, but Vergara, we didn't know about him. 3 weeks ago, nobody knew Vergara. And with so many injuries and so many complications and not going through good form, they still find ways to win games. And like you say, with 10 minutes left to play, they were in full control of the game. Mm-hmm. With 10 minutes left, it looked like they were going to go on to win that game. So credit to them. They're a tough nut to crack.
What was that analogy you just gave, by the way?
Back alley brawl.
Is that it? Is that what Napoli's good at? Down the back alley?
Yeah, like in a street fight, brawl. Long Island happens a lot. Yeah.
This is what we call...
Aren't you from England?
This is what we call a Grella analogy. When he's in the clouds, floating away, bringing us a different analogy.
This was one of his better ones, though. I understood this one.
This one I like.
Sometimes it's hit or miss.
Gritty team.
Yeah,
Gritty
100%.
team. You give them a problem, they go and figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that is what we've been talking about, Napoli being this gritty team. And I suppose the good thing for Napoli is Scott McTominay is not hopefully going to be out for very long. He's looming, he's coming back. But Romelu Lukaku, it feels like, is he coming in? Is he coming in? Every game we're kind of on the edge of what we're going to see from him if we do see him feature.
I'm scared with Big Rom, because we thought he was coming back a lot earlier, then it got delayed, and then Grella made a great point to me, saying that if you don't have a preseason, for a player like Lukaku to not have a preseason, it's going to be a big impact on him. He's not the same player that we knew a couple of years ago. He's in his 30s now, so it'll be difficult to get the best out of him. It seemed like he was about to come on once again, and then when it was 2-2, he decided not to put him. He puts Mazzocchi probably to hold the balance and the shape of the team. They need them back. They need Anguissa back. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne on Belgium, the coach was saying that he should be back in March, but do we see him at that top level come March or April? I think it'll be difficult to see that. Gilmore, they absolutely need him back. McTominay, they're key pieces to the squad. But we showed, at halftime or before the game, what the Napoli fans wrote, that you're honoring the jersey, you're honoring the city. I think that's a great definition of what this Napoli team is. It's not beautiful. Sometimes it's Route 1. Sometimes it's the goalkeeper sending it long and praying that Højlund could hold up the ball. But the buy-in from everyone, the ability for a player like Gutierrez, who you say had a great game, I agree with you, playing as a right wing back, then switching and going to the left side. There's just such an understanding of, maybe we're not the best, maybe it's not a good situation, but we're going to do the most of the situation. They haven't fallen apart. Can you imagine how many teams would have fallen apart if they were dealt the same cards? I think many clubs would have.
The ugly effectiveness is beautiful of Napoli. It is, because today they had 2 plays. One long ball, 75-yard from Milinkovic-Savic. And the other one was they go out to the wing back, and then as Roma came to press them, which they did almost in every phase of play, they would just swing one around the corner, bypass the midfield, and go into Højlund, and then we got to see Højlund and Ndika wrestle. We got to watch them wrestle for pretty much the entire game. And if he won a couple of those battles, like in the first half where he does actually spin Ndika, for me that should be a yellow card. If not, you can have also had the conversation that it could have been a red card. So that was the game. They had 2 plays. But with 2 plays, they competed. They made it work. And there was enough to get a point with a very highly injured team. Is every Napoli fan going to be happy? Probably not, because probably half of them had in their back mind, and one of them on the desk, that they're still in the Scudetto race. I think probably now we see that that's a big outside shot at this moment.
Yeah.
Is it put to rest now?
I think you needed to win today.
Yeah.
I think you needed to win. But the point saves for the Champions League spot, which I think if you take into the entirety of the season, you need to be in Champions League football next year. That's the most important. Whatever happens with Antonio Conte, I think many people do believe he'll move on at the end of the season. Maybe they will. You need to be in Champions League football. You won a trophy in the Super Cup. It's not the most prestigious cup, but you could still rest and say, okay, we did the job. Despite all the issues, we still got to a manageable situation. 2
trophies in 2 seasons in Champions League leading into the next year feels like decent, doesn't it, Grella? You're not 100% sold on Champions League being successful to define a season.
For me, it's 1 trophy, with all due respect to the Supercoppa Italiana.
But Champions League football is the priority now.
For sure. It has to be Champions League football. Champions League football, then you say, okay.
And Matteo Bonetti is with us from the commentary booth. Did you enjoy that game as much as these 2 did, Matteo?
Did they enjoy it? That's great to hear. I really did. It was end-to-end. We saw brilliant individual performances. Donyell Malen looks unbelievable, especially in the first half. That penalty as well, so confident. And then in the second half, this kid that we don't really know too much about, right, came from Sporting Club, Alisson Santos, playing like he had no saudade, like he was fresh off the beach of Copacabana. You know what that means? Like he didn't miss home. He was playing like the moment is big. When you're playing one of your first games in Serie A, you're in the Maradona against a bitter rival in a massive game for top 4 to really claim that top 4 spot. And he came on every time this kid got the ball, dancing by defenders, ball in, shot straight to his VAR. Then the second shot was a rifled shot right into the bottom corner. He looked like an amazing spark off the bench.
Who was more impressive today for you, him or Donyell Malen?
It has to be Donyell Malen because of the continuity. Brace after brace. 5 goals in 5. It's only him and like Gabriel Batistuta, the legendary Batigol, who have done it this well to start off their Roma career. Amazing.
Yeah, really good, wasn't it? And you were saying maybe a draw is fair, considering how the game played out.
For me, 100%. I thought it was a game of 2 halves. The way that Roma played in the first half, and then the way that Napoli showed the spirit and the character to really not lose. Even when they went down 2-1, you say, how are they going to find a way to get back into this game? 2-2, like I said, I wish there would have been more time to see who was a winner, but I think it's very fair for both sides. Both missing key players. Roma missing players, Napoli missing players, so great game.
If it does finish like this in the table, Grella, with Inter and Milan at the top, and then obviously Juventus is floating around there, you said this could define the final place in the top 4. Who would you give it to at this moment in time, Roma or Napoli, to make Champions League for next year?
What about Juventus? You can't Juventus out?
No, but if I'm putting them in, sorry, because you were saying it could be Roma or Napoli. Or whoever you want then. Who would be your top 4?
Yeah, listen, that's a really tough question. I think that somehow, some way, Juventus finds itself in the top 4.
Yeah. So which one of these 2?
Oh, okay. Oh, there's one more spot. Okay. Sorry. So Juventus finds himself in there, and I think Napoli have a little bit more than Roma down the stretch. I think that you saw today without Kone and without Malen when he came out of the game, that then Roma, they struggle a little bit, I think. So they're a little bit thinner in that regard. Napoli are kind of competing at Roma's level with so many injuries. So once they get these guys back on Gisa, Lobotka, Neres, all these guys, I think Napoli have just a little more. And by the way, I don't want to count out Atalanta and Como.
Don't do it. That's a great point. I was waiting for you to say it. No.
You're counting Como as a Champions League spot?
You have to.
Oh, yes.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes.
They play the best
100%.
football in the league.
Okay, that's very good.
They're growing
in
through
7.
the season. Okay. First of all, they've
got a game in hand, by the
brutally
way.
Unlucky.
Game in hand with
They got a game in hand.
You think they're going to finish in the top 4?
Yes.
Como?
No. I think they have a chance. Me and Mike appreciate that quality of football. I know for you it's all about the fighting spirit.
He wants to see Ricky Savage play 80-yard balls.
He wants to see the tussle between Ndika and Højlund. Me and Mike want to see the beauty of the game. Como gives us the beauty of the game. Atalanta have been amazing under Palladino as well.
Okay, so give us your top 4 right now.
Watch this. Watch.
Outside bet now becomes they're going to finish top 4. It does not. Let me give you the top 4. Inter win it. Milan in second place. I think Napoli third and Juventus 4th.
Okay, go 5th and 6th.
Oh, it's the
hold on. Go
Gasperini
fifth and
Atalanta battle between Roma and Atalanta for the
Who's
fifth
fifth
spot.
and who's sixth?
I think Roma's going to be right there. I thought they were going to challenge for the
So Roma
Scudetto.
fifth?
I was wrong. I hold my hands up.
Yeah.
And then Como, just because I'm so enamored by the way they play their football, but it's going to be so tight. I'm saying right now, don't be shocked if Atalanta and Como make a deep run into the top 4.
He made us perk up, as did the referee once again today, because some of the decisions were questionable. It's been a busy weekend for our rules expert, Christina Unkel. Christina, are you bored of us yet?
No, definitely not bored of you all. And yes, Marco, I'm here to break up all of these fights. Maybe not world-class fights, but we'll get to that
Get your red
later.
cards out for Matteo.
I want to know about this one, first of all, though, Christina, because this one with Rasmus Højlund and Ndika that we saw in the first half, that's crazy that we didn't see anything given how we've seen the refereeing go this weekend even.
Yeah, and I know, and I mean, there was kind of that joke of did the refs call each other and say to hold? And here at the end of the day, you kind of have to break this into why are we giving a yellow card, right? Is it for a tactical foul or is it for denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity? Those are really kind of those questions that you have when you're determining the yellow card. This one, the other one, kind of that kick out's going to be that nice debate there too as well. I think we've agreed on channel here that this was a penalty, pretty clear through. Unfortunately, hopefully he is well as he kind of goes through there. So some decisions that go one way, some decisions that go the other way. But when we break it down to that first play, I sit here and I struggle because I know we're going to talk about consistency. I know we're going to talk about what we saw yesterday in the Juventus match, right? I know we're going to talk about, like, why aren't we having this consistently when we see these arms wrapped and why we see this. And this is where I don't necessarily want to say I am kind of, splitting the hair here necessarily, but in that first play, the reason why we're not denying an obvious goal scoring play in that situation is because he does not have likelihood of control of that ball as you see the keeper high up in the air. Now, I do want to get down to this and say, if we don't want to give it for that, let's definitely give that for, all right, we talk about tactical foul. That's not necessarily the reason for it. Is he stopping a promising attack? One could make that argument for it. But at the end of the day, it's that holding offense that multiple times throughout, not just here in Serie A, but throughout the world, this is something that we're cracking down. You have that bear hug is what I kind of always reference it to. And that's something that's simple to give. And when we don't give those yellow cards, now you find me on TV trying to explain why it wasn't given when I think it should have been given for a yellow card offense.
Christina, I'm glad you said consistency because I think if La Penna, the referee of Inter Juventus, was here today, I mean, how many players would have been on the pitch? 8 at the final whistle? Because there is no consistency. Today I saw a lenient referee. Yesterday, we saw a referee that, and I want to ask your opinion, not as a referee, but as the human, Christina. Do you think it is wrong that we can't challenge, we can't go to the VAR second yellows that result red? Because what is a second yellow? It's not just a yellow, it's a yellow that equals a red card. So technically, it should be a red card that you can look back at VAR. It makes no sense. Sure, did the referees, when this came out, say, hold on, guys, this made no sense. If it's a second yellow, it turns into a red, so a red card should be able to get challenged by the VAR.
It should be the most reviewable play.
Right? Are we talking sense here? Was there talks about this with you and the refereeing union?
Yeah, you're not too far off. I was one of the first referees trained on the VAR protocol systems back in the day, right? Major League Soccer was the first league to introduce the VAR system in live play. Funny enough, Howard Webb was actually our VAR protocol instructor, and there was about 20 of us that were trained on it, and we literally were given the first draft of the VAR protocol. And that was something that we did actually talk about. Why is it that a second yellow card isn't something that's reviewable when the effect and the consequence is the same as a direct red card, right? Loss of a player. And the reason and the rationale given to us was because at that point, then pretty much every second yellow card would be then put on, and let's take a review, let's take a look at this. And when you talk about a yellow card, you're now putting that in more into the subjective gray element of it, right? And the discretion of the referee. Is there, it's going to be one of those situations, is it 100% yellow, is it 100% no? And so I do personally, even if I take my referee hat off, even if I take the VAR protocols and the foundations and the policy as to why it was put in place, when I take that off, I'm always afraid of this kind of, not afraid, but this is what law has. It's like this slippery slope. And that's why I know we talked a little bit yesterday. I think it was Marco. We talked about, do we implement these types of challenge systems? And that's where I say, hey, let's get to somewhere in the happy in the middle, right? The porridge is either too hot or it's too cold. How about we implement these challenges, which are starting to be done in the 17s for World Cup, for the women that they just did. But let's get that a little bit more fine tuned, because yesterday, contrary to popular belief, I did not agree that that was a yellow card that was given for that second yellow, and the referee didn't have the best angle for it. So let's help a man out. Let's allow a challenge by the managers, and then that I think helps us get to the point that from a justice personality basis, that'll kind of get the answer that we're all looking for.
Christina, I would love to know from you, and I guess everybody here, which refereeing performance do you appreciate more? Is it yesterday's or today? Because I think a lot of people would say today's is more enjoyable, the fact that they do let things go. Yes, we have the argument of consistency, but just on the basis of these two matches, which do you prefer from a refereeing perspective?
From a refereeing perspective, I prefer today's match. I know also from kind of the past, I was more of the game belongs to the referees, right? The game belongs to the fans. The game belongs to the technical staff. It does not belong to the officials. And that kind of a mindset that I had, which is kind of why I gravitate more to today's game than I do yesterday's game, because that's a little bit more black and white refereeing. That's a little bit more scientific. To me, I think you then come out with unexpected or over harsh consequences. But when you referee with a little bit more of let's let the game flow, let's see where the game takes it, and you're really trying to basically just manage making sure that there's no serious injury, right? We're not risking the injury of the players, endangering the safety. But when you take it into like, how does the game feel? That does take a lot of experience. That does take a lot of the ability to have really empathy. Not sympathy, but empathy as an official, to be able to feel that energy, feel the energy that the environment gives in, not to persuade you or not persuade you to make that call, but to really kind of orchestrate the game as if you were a conductor. Now, the problem with that kind of mentality, and here the official could do it, and that's where I think that there's a difference between good referees and great referees, or those who have better player management, is that unfortunately some people and a lot of people don't have that skill set. So when they start gravitating in that more subjective player management standpoint, they're going to find themselves a little bit more trouble than if they would referee black and white. But today is definitely my preference.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think everybody here can agree, right, with how today was compared to yesterday. Christina, thank you so much. We appreciate you all weekend.